Pastor Tyler got up here, we're looking at, there's a lot of spiritual depth, maturity in the house. I feel like God is drawing us into a deeper understanding of the spiritual realm, if you will, and His kingdom. It's probably a better way to put it, His kingdom. Pastor Tyler touched on it already. The things we're seeing in the earth is merely a distraction from the reality of His kingdom. So if you would give me just a minute. I pulled this stuff up before Pastor Tyner got up and spoke. I just wanted to touch on it. The time definitely wouldn't allow us to get into a study of what's happening in this world today, the spiritual war that's taking place. But this was sparked. It's very difficult in this day and age. That's why I feel this service is going to be so important. I don't know what Pastor has for the teaching today, but I feel like this service, this appointed time today, it's going to be very, very important for the congregation to have spiritual ears that hear what God is trying to say to the church. Yeah. So I want to emphasize that. Because we're entering into a spiritual war zone where words aren't enough. And here's what I mean. See, we have a lot of people within the church, a lot of people in Tabernacle of Praise that are solid people. You're great people. You know your scriptures. You attend on a regular basis. And you're faithful to the local assembly of Tabernacle of Praise. But we're entering into a time where words aren't enough. It's not going to be enough just to be a casual attender. It's not going to be enough just to, how do I want to phrase this? And I admit, here's my disclaimer, I may be wording this improperly, but salvation will take you to heaven. Being born again will take you to heaven. But we need spiritual depth to allow us to live in this earth today. To make an impact, if you will. Let me, real quick, and I promise I really do not intend to take a lot of time, but I had recently wrote something and put it out there on Facebook. Maybe my first mistake. But I received a very long response from a gentleman in Newcastle that didn't have any ill intention at all. But his response was based in his humanistic, surface level point of view, which showed me that it's going to be very difficult for us to relate to people with words in Scripture only. Benjamin, I think his last name is Watson. Watch out. Benjamin Watson, he's a tight end for the Baltimore Ravens. And we all know Baltimore was one of the cities that faced a lot of this racial tension and was a big part of what we're seeing even here today. But in an interview, he said this. It says, one of the biggest things that we have to be able to handle is conflict, and to handle it correctly. When we're able to look at our biases, look at our frustrations, look at our sin in this area, our pride and our selfishness, it allows us to move forward. And then he finishes by saying, Obama can't save us, Ms. Clinton can't save us, Mr. Trump can't save us. The only one who can change the heart of man is the Lord. Tied in for the Baltimore Ravens. And if you want the Scripture to tell us where we're at today, all we have to do is look at 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4. This is what's going on. This is why it takes a depth of spiritual maturity to deal with what's going on today, because I promise you, if you just start blasting stuff on Facebook and using words and even using scripture, you're going to end up frustrated. This is why. In whom the God of this world, Satan, the God of this world, has blinded the minds of them which believe not. Lest the light of the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. And I'll read the New International Version of the same thing. The God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers so that they cannot see the light of the gospel that displays the glory of Christ, who is the image of God. There is a spiritual blindness that has swept across this entire nation, even the world, but we're dealing with America. So it makes it very difficult to go out there on our workplaces and blast on social media our viewpoints, because they can't even comprehend what we're trying to say. I want you to listen to this, because this is very important, and this shows you this, what's been happening today already in service, shows you that what I'm saying is coming from the depths of the Spirit of the Lord, and something God wants you to hear. I say that because, one, it was already confirmed. Two, it's because already since I've been up, we've had distractions that have swayed the minds of people and the eyes, and distracted from missing the point of what I'm trying to say. Because, see, I can get up here and say words, but if you don't fill it with the intent of your heart and the Spirit, you'll miss what I'm saying. You'll miss it. So we have to dive in to the depths of the Spirit of God and begin to ask Him to show us and reveal to us the understanding of His kingdom. Of His kingdom. Otherwise, honestly, you probably need to keep your mouth shut until you can understand some depth of the spirit of what you're trying to convey. Because if you convey words, even scripture, without understanding, without the spiritual backing behind what you're saying, and in that right moment, you're only going to lead yourself and the other party into more frustration. And you will create, instead of helping the situation, you'll actually cause them to rise up to come against you even harder.
That's right.
This day is important.
Yes, it is.
Tensions are high.
Amen. Yes.
This day is important. As you know, I could say more. But listen. Because it's a spiritual thing that's taking place. It's not a race thing.
That's right.
It's not a race thing.
Yeah.
The gentleman that I quoted that plays for the Baltimore Ravens is a black man. There are many people from all races crying out against the confusion and chaos that's happening right now.
Yes.
Look at some of the stuff Alveda King, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s niece, is saying, and the things she's trying to accomplish today. It's a sin problem.
Right. That's it.
And let me tell you, as we're on that note, because I know here we predominantly have a lot of white people, do not, because I know we got some southern white people in this place. Do not, seriously, do not allow this mess to put a seed of bitterness in your heart. I mean, now with everything in me, do not allow a seed of bitterness to be planted. The devil is using sideshows. He's using just distractions from the root cause, because he knows that if we deal with the root cause of the problem, then we can choke out the weed. But as long as you give into the sideshow, as long as you allow that to take root on the inside of you, you will not be able to accomplish His plan and His will. Amen. All right. On that note, a couple of things I want to talk to you about that are really good things, really fast. Children's ministry, we have went from here to here. We have some great teachers. We started dividing classes. We're individually focusing on age groups. it's doing great. I'll save the details, but behind the scenes we have secretly been working very diligently, and by the end of the year we should have a very exciting children's ministry. Your kids should be bringing stuff home. They should be sharing with you. And one thing we are lacking, I mean, we've got it dug in, and we have just about, now I know this is great news compared to what you usually hear, because we're usually begging for teachers. We have just about got every base covered. Consistently. However, we do still need a mentor for the 11 and 12-year-old boys. We need a man that's willing to mentor 11 and 12-year-old boys. Actually, we need a couple of them. And if we could find that, if we could find some men to rise up and say, I will be a father to someone who may not have a believing father. I'll be a father to someone that may not have a father. The only way for men to become boys is to have an example of a man in front of them. All right. The other thing is today we're going to be, it's my understanding, we're going to be gathering some young adults today when the children are dismissed. We're going to be gathering some young adults. Some of you have already gotten with. If you're in your 20s, young, married, single, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're going to gather with you today, and we're going to begin to talk about and share a vision for the future that Pastor Tyler and I have been working on, and Pastor has shared with the pastoral team. And today is kind of a pilot program, and we're going to look at it, and I'm going to speak to you and share with you some of the vision for the future. So if you would be interested in that, then see me right outside when the children are dismissed.